Hello, today we're going to be talking about Edwin Morgan. Edwin Morgan was a Scottish poet and translator. He was born in 1920 in Glasgow, Scotland. As a boy, he enjoyed scrapbooking and writing poetry. His family wanted him to take on the family shipping business. However, he decided to do what he loved and write poetry. He studied the English language and literature at the University of Glasgow until 1947, when he graduated. After, he began to teach in the English language department until 1980, when he retired. After his retirement, he was appointed as Poet Laureate in 1999. Then, in 2000, he received the Queen's Gold Medal for Poetry. And later, in 2004, he was named Scotland's National Poet.
Next, I will talk about what some have said about the volume of poetry and what they have said about Edwin Morgan and his other poems and volume of poetry. One person said that From Glasgow to Saturn is a good example of Edwin Morgan's subject reign and also his curiosity. Colin Nicholson, professor of English at Edinburgh, says, Morgan's poetry comes at you from every conceivable corner of time and space and in every imaginable mold. Ron Butlin, a poet and novelist, says, he is a man who wants to say yes, if at all possible. Some readers claim that Edwin Morgan has a coded reference to gay life in his poem and other poetries like Christmas Eve, which is one of the poems in this volume of poetry. Christopher Wright says to this that no other of Morgan's poems of this time reaches this degree of explicitness, for few exceptions. Morgan sticks to the rules he has set for himself, using the neutral pronoun you and throughout.
Hello, I decided to present on Edwin Morgan's From Glasgow to Saturn. I bought my copy off of eBay, although it may be available in other locations. To begin with, it has a yellowish cover with blue writings and a blue picture. In the picture, we seem to see a griffin carrying a bear, a person riding the griffin, which appeared to be carrying a tree with another large bird perched on it. If we take a look on the back, we see other authors with their titles posted. We see the price it originally sold for, £2.50 British pounds. If we move our focus from the outside into the inside, we see that it is laid out like most other books, with decoration, title page, and table of contents. The layout of the poem seemed to fit with many previous volumes of poetry I've seen. Unlike one we have read in class, it does not put words randomly off to the right when it runs out of space, making it easier to read.
In this volume of poetry, I've seen poems we've read in class like Message Clear or the Loch Ness Monster Song. This volume of poetry has different topics like childhood, nature, or even a computer writing.
Floating off to Timor. If only we'd been strangers, we'd be floating off to Timor. We'd be shimmering on a trades in a blue jazzy boat with shandies, flying fish, a pace of dolphins to the copra ports. And it's no use crying to me, what dolphins? I know where they are, and I'd have snapped you up and carried you away, snapped you up and carried you away, if we had been strangers. But here we are, care of the black roofs. It's not hard to find, with a collar turned up and a hoot from the Clyde. The steps come home whistling too, and a kettle steams the cranes out slowly. It's living with ships makes a rough springtime, and who is safe when they sing and blow their music? They seem to swing at some light rope, like those desires we keep for strangers. God, the yellow deck breathes, it heaves spray back like a shout. We're cutting through some straits of the world in our old dark room with salty wings in the shriek of a dock wind. But we're caught, meshed, in the fish scales, ferries, mudflats, lifebelts, fading into football cries, and the lamps coming on to bring us in. We take in the dream, a cloth from the line the trains fling sparks on in our city. We're better awake, but you know I'd take you all the same if you were my next stranger. The Apple's Song. Tap me with your finger, rub me with your sleeve, hold me, sniff me, peel me, curling round and round till I burst out white and cold from my tight red coat and tingle in your palm as if I'd melt and breathe. A living pomander, waiting for the minute of joy when you lift me to your mouth and crush me, and in taste and fragrance I race through your head in my dizzy dissolve. I sit in the bowl in my cool corner and watch you as you pass, smoothing your apron. Are you thirsty yet? My eyes are shining. Space poem number 3, Off Course. The golden flood, the weightless seat, the cabin song, the pitch black, the growing beard, the floating crumb, the shining rendezvous, the orbit wisecrack, the hot spacesuit, the smuggled mouth organ, the imaginary somersault, the visionary sunrise, the turning continents, the space debris, the golden lifeline, the space walk, the crawling deltas, the camera moon, the pitch velvet, the rough sleep, the crackling headphone, the space silence, the turning earth, the lifeline continents, the cabin sunrise, the hot flood, the shining spacesuit, the growing moon, the crackling somersault, the smuggled orbit, the rough moon, the visionary rendezvous, the weightless headphone, the cabin debris, the floating lifeline, the pitch sleep, the crawling camera, the turning silence, the space crumb, the crackling beard, the orbit mouth organ, the floating song.